there. So this is my 6-month video. I've actually been affected by the Mandela effect for 8 months, but I started my channel 6 months ago. I have done 84 videos, 85 now, and some of you have actually been with me for this ride since the very beginning. Although a lot of you have just joined this channel recently within about, I don't know, the last month or so. So I was thinking, I've come to a new point in this Mandela effect reality. I feel like I've moved on, actually a couple times moved on to different stages, and I'm actually now in this completely new stage of this really bizarre but very fascinating experience. And I was thinking about all of the different things I've talked about, all of the videos I've done, the different theories, the different changes, and really it seems like it's been a lifetime since I started talking about all of this. And so I thought I'd throw together a, like a 6-month thing with a compilation of the different videos that I've done. I thought it would be interesting. So, for those of you that haven't seen, because that's a lot of friggin' videos to go through. So for those of you that have just been joining my channel now, maybe you'll kind of like this, and then you don't have to, go back and look through, or maybe it'll pique your interest in some of the other stuff that I've done. And for those of you that have been on this ride with me since the beginning, it will be kind of like, it's like deja vu. So anyways, that's what this video is about. So enjoy. Herbal essences. And that one kind of floored me because herbal essence, things are being depersonalized, or being made singular instead of, as a group. Like Luke, I am your father, versus no, I am your father. I mean, to me, that's depersonalization between those of us that are experiencing this. I've been trying to figure this out. In the book, there are changes. What I want to talk about are the stages that one may go through when they're discovering the experiment just blows. Now, what you need to understand is that if you remember it one way, and you know this is how you remember it, and your friends, your family, your colleagues, they remember it how it is now in our present time, different from you. You remember it like with the O's, the double O's, the double O's. I remember it F-R-U-I-T, fruit, like the regular fruit. That looks weird to me. That just looks weird. Our so-called reality changed, some of the truths that we remember. In his description of how the quantum computer works, he goes on to talk about how in quantum mechanics there is a concept that something can exist exclusively in 2 states at the same time. I've heard that before. He gives an analogy about how there could be 2 parallel universes, both identical in every possible way except for one thing, with only one difference: the value of a qubit. Everybody was like, oh, there is one, but there's, God must want us to be happy, he's putting smileys in here. And I looked at mine, and I have a sad face. I'm sorry. It's funny. And I'm sure, it is maybe a typo, maybe the particular Bible I have, but I had to, yeah, it's like one of those slightly hysterical moments. It's like, why did everybody get a smiley and I got a sad face? We are definitely being divided here. Why is there such a negative passion about this? I mean, why are we being divided? What the hell is going on with people? Like peaks not into a parallel world, but a parallel dimension. I'm trying to just visualize this just big mesh of stuff around us that we can't see. And that was my main thing. I wanted to know, when people were hearing strange sounds, what was the date? So we had January. But there wasn't anything going on, as far as I know, with CERN in January 2012. But then you've got There's a spike here, December 2013 with the sounds, and then May 2015. And then, I mean, you look right after that and you get your, everyone's checking the spelling on Berenstain Bears. And then people start, apparently after that, it looks to me, they're like, oh, it's something called the Mandela effect. So then that spikes up the why for me. So after noticing the change myself, I only then proceeded to watch the video. Now, first off, these are my thoughts. The whole concept of naming the lazy boy the way I remember is threefold. First, you have the word lay, in which it implies that one can now not only sit in the chair, but lay in it. Second is lazy, well, because obviously if you're laying in a chair, you're kind of being lazy. And then the Z implying sleep. Good marketing name, you know. They are still called lazy boy in the commercials, you know, the way it's pronounced. But when you look at it, it's lazy boy. For example, we either remember everything being how we remembered it, different from how it is now, or we remember some of it the way it was before, and yet one of us remembers the rest of it as it is now. Or we both remember some of it the way it was then, and the other may remember the rest of it completely different than how it was then and how it is now. And somebody had mentioned about being Rh negative, and then I had quite a few people that responded stating that they were. I thought that a bit interesting because only 15% of the population is Rh in our own homes, which have changed as well, such as books and maps and movies. I'm confused, though, by why the Google newspaper archives have not changed. That has really thrown me. I can't quite figure that one out. Albert Einstein proved that when you come right down to it, everything in the universe is energy. The physical plane of our reality, of matter, and the abstract reality of our minds are made up of energy patterns. Atoms are the basic unit of matter. We are made up of atoms. All that we see are made up of atoms. We and everything around us are not really a solid entity, so in essence, everything that you look upon is nothing but energy. The solidity that we see in ourselves and everything around us is a mirage. Let's take that one step further. So, if this is the case, then what happens once we all put our thoughts, our beliefs, our feelings, ideas into one place throughout a period of time? One place, which is in every place at every moment. One place, which is every place simultaneously. The internet. Never in our history has that been something new of this year or new of last year or within the past few years. You know, but for me, personally, you know, and the Berenstain Bears was the very first thing that at least stuck out to me. And I noticed that spelling change all the way back in, and this is kind of a guess, I'm going based on my last child's age at the time. So I want to say it was around 2003. These are just, they're amazing. I don't know if you guys have seen these, and I wanted to kind of do this in real time here, so I'm saying, look at that! Look at that! When I first saw this, I was like, that can't be real. You know, it's like somebody was buying too many mossy oak and real tree clothing and decided that all these trees should look this way. I mean, they're beautiful, but they don't seem real, but they are. Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, they just recently, in the past week, I think, made a statement that they believe that there's a 20 to 50% chance that we're living in a matrix. Kind of a strange thing for them to say, in my opinion, why they would decide they, you know, want to make a statement like that. I was reading this article and I got to the end. And it's just kind of funny that it wraps up the article with a statement of, you know, after talking about living in a matrix, yada yada, and then he goes on to say the investment implications remain unclear. Some of this stuff just seems so silly. How can you be talking about, well, there's a possibility that we live in a always thinking, actually, my name is Nicole. I thought that it was time that we have a, I was going to say we have a one-on-one, but it's not really a one-on-one. I've mentioned this in a previous video. Even if you don't believe that we have the capability in our timeline, in our universe, to do these things, that is not to say that it hasn't happened in a parallel universe. If you picture the different parallel universes, and maybe in ours we haven't gotten that point, but this one over here did, and this one over here did, and that one over there did. The way that I picture it is, if you have them, and like that one guy had mentioned in his big spiel when he explained about how the D-wave worked and whatnot, he made the reference to reaching from our universe into a parallel universe to snag some of their resources. So if you can picture, let's see, here's a parallel universe and here's one, and one of them is ours. And you reach between them to snag something, some resource. It seems to me that they would, I wish that, this is really hard to give a graphical representation with my hands. It seems to me like there would be a melding between the two, that they would merge slightly, even if it's just for a few seconds. But during that time frame, something from there would come through over there, and something from there would come through over there, or they would mix things up, or whatever. Let's just say in our timeline, we didn't have the rainbow eucalyptus trees, and they went bloop, and then poop, all of a sudden we had it, because they had it over there, and now we also have it over here. For you guys, because I've noticed another commonality between us Mandela affected, and it seems to be that we seem to be showing, or at least from the videos that I've watched and a few people that I've talked to, an artistic side. So I'm sitting outside, and then all of a sudden, everything just got sharper, and the colors got brighter, I guess. But that's not even the right word. It's like the blues got bluer, the greens got greener, the whites got whiter. And the more, that I was looking at everything, it was like everything was just sort of popping out at me. It almost felt like somebody else was looking, like somebody that's never seen before was looking through. Talk about was lately I am not, like, literally not feeling like myself at all. Like, remember the whole thing I was talking about with, things looking really vivid and popping out at me, and it was the visual experience. No, not anymore. Everything is getting dull and sort of faded, and then that's what it almost feels like. It almost feels like everything around me is just sort of fading away, and it's a really hard thing to explain. But everything, the people, my life, just everything just seems like it's just fading away, and I'm not sure what that means. I had, and the whole time thing, I swear to God, I feel like I'm losing my fucking mind. Yeah, I do not. I do not. This guy seems like he was just plopped in there out of nowhere, and I did try to do some research to see if this was just a new thing, but from what I can tell, it's always been this way. So, yeah, he doesn't look like he belongs. Help me out here, guys. Do you remember him? Seriously. So just a quick video, because this one threw me when I heard this earlier. I'm like, what? Really? I can't believe there are so many people going through such grief and such sadness and so much confusion, and I wish I could help. I really wish I could help. Um, the only thing that I can say is, at least we have each other. At least, we've got at least the support of other people that are going through the same thing, and then it's that you're not alone and I'm not alone, and that makes a big difference, I think. um, I also wanted to let you guys know, for those of you that are going through such personal heartache and changes in your life that you can't understand. Um, I've mentioned this, somewhere else too. I have an Always Thinking Facebook page, but it's just a page and it's public. But an offshoot of that, I have a private Always Thinking group. Okay, where you have to get permission from me, and you can get in that group, and then the public can't see it. The only people that can see it are the people that I allow to come into that group. I figured it's a safe place, um, for us to share some crazy stories or sad stories or things that are just pissing us off or whatever. And it doesn't have to be about Mandela effect. I mean, I got a couple people in there now, and some of the stuff that we talk about, it's kind of funny sometimes, and we share some really interesting finds, on there. Crazy synchronicities. And so I wanted to touch on that just a little bit. I've been thinking all morning and trying to figure out why. Is it because we're more aware, we're more in tuned? Why are the synchronicities ramping up? And I haven't found the answer yet. But um, they seem to be like they kind of giving us personal clues, maybe. Last night about empaths and how a lot of the Mandela affected people seem to be empaths, and I suddenly had this train of thought that kind of just took off all on its own. Me being an empath, I've noticed throughout my life that I generally don't bump into other empaths. It's almost like, I'll get everybody else. You get a lot of really negative people. I noticed that we're magnets for the negative people, and then just sort of, everyday people. I mean, not that we're not everyday people, but you know what I mean. Um, we seem to be like magnets, and we attract, all walks of life that they open up to us, and seem to need us. And I was thinking to myself last night that it's like, wow, this whole Mandela effect seems to have brought like a whole bunch of empaths together in one place at one moment.